This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Sunday.
The Sunday Groove. This is episode 5. I transitioned back into my real voice now, as I always do with my awkward beginning. I guess I'll start like I normally do by thanking you all for listening to this episode and hoping that if you haven't listened to the first 4, go back and check them out. Last time I talked about Tom Petty with Todd Weber, and I definitely recommend that episode if you haven't checked it out. But we blanked on one complete album that I really wanted to bring up, and that is actually the second album called You're Gonna Get Me. It is an incredible album. I don't think it got as much critical success as a few of the others. It did spawn a couple hits that I didn't write down because that's how prepared I am. But it had 2 or 3 that really stuck out to me. And Greg can attest to this, not that he's on this episode, but because he's not, but he was in the car with me and we listened to the album, and there was one that was more of like a country rock groove, which is kind of hard to explain, but check it out. It's called Too Much Ain't Enough. And then there's this really rockin' song called Restless. Has a really good groove, and as you can tell by the name of the show, I like grooves. So anyway, check that album out if you haven't. It's really good. Like I said, me and Todd just blanked on it. I know he's more into to Tom Petty's 80s stuff. I love the 70s stuff, but when I was preparing for an episode with 16 albums, or 14 or so we mentioned, that's a lot to process. So that's my excuse. Not saying it's a good one. But, as with always, I'm not alone on this recording, so don't worry, it's not just me. I have one half of Geek and Sassy here. I hope she brought the sass. I think she did, but I'm sure she might have brought some geek as well. If you've not listened to their show, please check it out. But here is Jennifer Smith.
Hi, thank you for having me. I always bring my geek and my sassy, so don't worry about that.
Okay, good. I might bring a little sassy. You might hear some little... I tried to do my snapping thing. It didn't translate, and of course my fingers didn't actually do it. I actually can do the 3 or 4.
Don't worry.
Okay, well, I think only 2 or 3 of them came through. I usually do 3 or 4. But, anyway, so, I just did the wrap-up where I talked about Tom Petty a little bit. Do you have any thoughts on Tom Petty, or like some songs or albums that you like of his?
Well, you guys covered it very well on your last episode.
Oh, thank you.
Not much else I could say, although, he was an icon, and, the first thing I always think of is Last Dance with Mary Jane, and then Free Fallin'. Those would probably be my 2 favorite songs.
Nice. Yeah, I think any person around our age, that's right around the time we were really exploring music, or at least I was early 90s, and I know Free Fallin', I think, was 89, and then Last Dance with Mary Jane was 93, so right around that time is when I know I was really paying attention, so that makes sense. Well, cool. Thanks again for coming out. I always say that. I don't think there's any illusion that people think we're in a studio. Maybe one day, if Sunday Groove gets to episode like 300, I might have finally got a studio.
So you mean we're not in Canada in a
no
studio? Okay.
No, I mean, I might visit the Horror Traveling Fanboys up there one day, but no, just from my undisclosed location.
All right, your secret lair.
Yes, where I do all my creepy stuff from.
Okay.
I don't know. I've been called a creep before. I don't think it was for a good reason, but so anyway, as I lose track of my stuff already. Well, I wanted to add something slightly new to this episode. It kind of came from just the normal transition with Todd last time, and it was very weird. He actually asked me questions, and I know at the beginning I was very embarrassed to like not actually know the answers to like of my drumsticks and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I thought it'd be kind of fun to start with a couple questions. So, Jen, what is your first musical memory?
Okay, that's difficult, but one of the earliest things I remember is my mom. My mom was obsessed with Michael Bolton, and it had to be a cassette tape. I don't even think it was a CD then, but she played the crap out of some Michael Bolton, and like When a Man Loves a Woman, and it was what we listened to nonstop. Because my mom is a big classic rock fan too. One of my other earliest memories is of Foreigner.
Nice. Yes.
So those are. I'm more of a Foreigner fan than I am a Michael Bolton fan. But I definitely get a lot of my eclectic taste from my mom.
Awesome. Yeah, you might have heard a wheezy laugh in there at Michael Bolton, just because I picture his hair. Like, right. I respect him as a singer, but that hair choice. I mean, I know it was the 80s and early 90s. I think that's when he had that crazy hair. I think he kept it till way later, but I think that's when it kind of originated. So it makes sense, but it's like, dude, do something else.
My mom was all about it. Her and a group of friends, I remember they went to a concert in Atlanta, and it was just like all she talked about for months was the Michael Bolton concert.
Hey, there's no judgment here. I think I mentioned on one of my early episodes. If I didn't, is something I don't shame anybody for music. Like, I might jokingly, but I probably will do an episode one day called Guilty Pleasures. But there really shouldn't be any guilt to it. Like, we like what we like. And
exactly.
If it's cheesy, that's fine. I mean, music's supposed to transport us, so that's cool. But Foreigner, obviously I heard it growing up a little bit, and probably later on when I was going back into the 80s stuff I'd missed. But Cold as Ice and what was, they have so many hits, but trying
to think of which one was her favorite. I Want to Know What Love Is.
Okay, yeah.
Waiting for a Girl Like You.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Stuff like that. Like, hair band music.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I know I had a couple
definitely not.
ballad mixes. One that doesn't get mentioned much, but is a lot of fun, is Dirty White Boy. I don't remember where I heard that the first time, but it was within the last 5 or 10 years, and it just really grabbed me. It's just not your normal Foreigner things, but like what brought them more to my radar was VH1 Classic, and there was some like acoustic concert with them. It was maybe it's like 30 minutes or so, but it was so cool. So, or I could say cold.
Cold as ice.
Yes. So, all right. Well, that's cool. That's everybody has their own memories with it, with music. Do you play any instruments or sing?
Well, when I was in high school, I was a band nerd. So when I started in 6th grade playing trumpet, I can still play trumpet. I don't don't think I have one laying around here, but I still know all the fingerings for the notes, and I could still play trumpet, I'm sure. I was the drum major, my high school band, and so I did that for the last 2 years, and then I played the marching mellophone, which is kind of like a French horn.
Okay, thank you. It wasn't coming back to me.
I played that for 2 years before I was the drum major, and then I played like a regular concert French horn in the concert band on the off season from football. I was not very good at the French horn, but I did play it. I could never, because I don't know if you've ever played it, but it's sort of awkward to hold, and you have to put your hand inside the actual like horn, like the bell part. And I never was like really good at. It's like at times you can kind of move your hand to manipulate the sound a little bit, and I never got really good at that. But the mellophone I loved, and it was actually pretty okay at. As far as singing goes, I do love to sing, as not being very good at it. I like to karaoke, and I'm constantly singing in the car and annoying the crap out of my son. So there's always some singing happening, although it's not not very fun to listen to anybody but me.
You might be surprised, and there's no shame in not being very good at times, because there's different styles of singing that I'll try out that I'm horrible at. Others I do pretty well at, but like I read, and I read a study. I read like a paragraph of a study that supposedly said that people that sing in their car are happier people. I don't think that, or it can make them happier or something like that. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So like, it kind of tried to make me overpower my desire to be like, are people watching me?
Oh yeah, I don't care about that.
I don't normally, but occasionally, since I live in a small town, I don't really want. I sometimes get like uptight about that, but typically I'm rocking out. Hey,
the trick is, this is what I did. The trick is to put your phone up like you're having a conversation, but you're really just singing. Literally, I did that the other day, and it totally worked. It was like, everybody just thinks I'm talking on my phone, and I was totally singing.
Nice. Well, it's kind of the same, kind of goes with the social awkward thing I do sometimes. You don't want to talk to somebody. You just, get the glue to your phone, or you hold it up and pretend like you're talking on it until you get phone rings and it's obvious you're faking. I've never had that happen, but I've always been terrified of it. I'm like, oh crap. But yeah, I love singing in the car. That's probably where I do the most singing. I actually recorded myself doing that a little while back and listened back to it and laughed hysterically at it.
Right.
Yeah, if you ever get bored, record yourself doing that.
I actually do that.
Oh, okay, good.
I can't believe I just admitted that, but yes.
Awesome, yeah. I explore new voices that way, and that one time I just wanted to see if I actually sounded good harmonizing with Gary Clark Jr. Okay, at times. It was more I was being his hype man and just kind of like a backup singer than really harmonizing. But I love hype men and old stuff, and I don't mean like Flavor Flav. He's okay, but I mean like back in the older singing styles, to be the guy to be like, yeah, you right there, and like, and they say the words again, like, oh yes he is, oh, those kind of people. That's something that's kind of gone away, but like I want to be that person in a band one of these days. I'm really one of those people that's going to drag down a famous person like MC Hammer's people. But no, that's one of my random singing stories. Sorry, I'm asking you questions and I go off on my own tangents.
No, that's okay.
So yes, if people give some love to hype men and backup singers and stuff in bands. They do add a little something.
Word.
So if you could be part of any band now or past, who would it be?
This is difficult. I'm definitely not cool enough, but I would want to be in Metallica.
Nice. Okay. Now, what would you do in Metallica?
That's a good question. I could be a hype man.
You can't steal my hype man. I don't know.
Damn it.
Are you gonna do lead vocals?
Cowbell, tambourine. I can play the mellophone. Does that work?
It's funny you mentioned that. I started a couple years ago, probably more in the last year, adding mouth trumpet sounds to random songs. And I do it mostly in the car when I don't know the words. But sometimes I'll just do that. So like I remember one day I was listening to some Incubus and just thought it needed a trumpet part, so I added it. It's a weird thing to do, I know, but so maybe James from Metallica would be up for it. Add you in on trumpet or mellophone or any of those. I mean, they did do the Symphony album back years ago.
That's true.
Which I originally thought was stupid, but like later went back and it's like, oh, that's amazing.
But like, what band is cooler than Metallica? I mean, there's not much.
I can't think of one. I know I thought about, after I asked you that question earlier, I was thinking about what band I'd want to be in. I think probably modern would be Foo Fighters. That's pretty obvious since I did a whole episode dedicated to them. I would either fill in as drums on a couple songs or maybe try to sing some of the stuff. I couldn't do the screaming for very long. I'd lose my voice. But yeah, that would be my modern. Now, if I could do old school, my dream would be Queen. I'd be in Queen.
Oh, wow. That's a good answer.
But, so yeah, I'll definitely take Metallica. I can't believe I haven't dedicated an episode to Metallica yet. I've done plenty of dedication episodes, so I'm trying to steer away from them for a little while.
Right. Just add them to the list.
Yes, I mean, I'm sure it will be there sometime. So I just put my agenda to the side. That was stupid. Okay, so the normal thing we go into is current spins. It may or may not have a jingle by the time this gets put together, if I ever decide on one. Had a couple ideas. But anyway, current spins. Is there anything you're currently listening to, Jen?
I'm always listening to something, but just recently, Miranda got me hooked on this song. We actually put it on the last episode of Geek and Sassy, and it is called "Top of the World" by Kimbra.
Okay.
And I hadn't heard it before she sent it to me, but I don't know the artist. I don't know much about her. I know that she's from New Zealand, and she has an upcoming album called Primal Heart. And there's another song that I listen to on Spotify called Everybody Knows, but I definitely prefer Top of the World. It has a really unique sound to it. She sort of sings in it, and it has a real like angsty and sort of like angry and like feel to it, and it has a real like a thudding beat, and it's awesome. It's really, really good. So you should definitely look at that one.
Now, was that the beginning or the end of the episode, or do you remember?
It's at the beginning of Geek and Sassy 19.
I heard it, but I apparently can't think of it at the moment.
But that's a fun one.
Nice.
But I usually always fall into some sort of rabbit hole of music, and recently it's been like 90s R&B.
Okay.
It's like, and then offshoots of that, like, because something will spark me to start looking up something, and like I've been listening to some Mariah Carey, and then that led to like Boys to Men, and sort of spiraled into that.
That is perfectly okay. From that same era, of course, I love No Diggity,
right?
Some stuff like that. I know Greg and I had a weird mix-up on our episode where I thought he was referencing Donkey Butt, of all things, but he was actually referencing The Temptations. Similar wording, though. I went back and listened to it because I was really mad at myself. Well, not mad, just kind of embarrassed about that mix-up. But then I'm like, no, it's... 12 Gauge was the guy's name. He did steal a little bit from it. Not the beat, but just a little bit of the words. So, so that ain't too proud to beg. Ain't no shame in the game, something like that. So anyway, 90s R&B, that's cool. I go down those rabbit holes myself. So as I probably did just then. So anything else, or is that?
That's been pretty much it. I mean, you have the stuff that well, for me, I kind of have the same things that work for me in the gym. Like, that's the stuff I will listen to a lot, just to get me through the time on the elliptical.
Right.
But that stuff would be like more poppy things like Maroon 5 or Rihanna. So those are always on my phone.
See, I think that's the difference is probably partly between men and women and their workout music, but probably also maybe just me. I don't know. But I listen to like a lot of hard rock and angry stuff when I work out. Like it. So like typically for me, it's gonna be Metallica. Not really so much the anger with Alter Bridge, but just heavy stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I've ever tried the pop in there. I'm sure I have, but maybe I should try the more poppy stuff. Maybe I'd be in a better mood afterwards.
Yeah, it does help. It does help. And like if you're like doing weights or like the machines, then you could do the rock stuff. But then if you get in the cardio, like for me, I have to go somewhere else that's not focusing on what I'm doing. Like,
right.
So that's why I like the poppy stuff I can sing in my head and, just sort of get into the music and get through it because it's torture.
Right. Oh, I know it's getting cold, so I'm going to have to figure out a way to work out inside. But I go for mostly fast walking and a little bit of jogging. But anytime I get into the jogging part, I've got to find the right song.
Yes.
To make me power through it, because otherwise I hate that with a passion. I start breathing heavily within like a few seconds, basically, and I'm just like, oh gosh, how am I going to do this? So I have to find that right song, and I'll usually go through probably about 5 or 6 before I'll find one that actually I feel inspires me for the day. So that's cool. I think I was looking through my recent listening, and I couldn't find a whole lot other than something I've mentioned before, but I'll add to it because, I misplaced it. Where the heck did it go? Anyway, here it is. Greta Van Fleet. I know Greg mentioned them once on the show. I think I might have mentioned them again later on, but they have really spoken to me, and I go back to them very regularly. And they just put out a full-length, well, I say full-length, 8-song album. So it was like combining their previous EP and 4 new recordings. And if you haven't heard them, definitely check them out. Greta Van Fleet, they sound a lot like Led Zeppelin. That's going to be the biggest comparison that you'll hear. I'm sure there's plenty of other influences in there, but that's the most obvious.
I actually did listen to some after you and Greg talked about it, and it's kind of freaky how much it sounds like Led Zeppelin.
Right. Especially his vocals, right?
Yeah, it's pretty uncanny, actually.
Yeah, this dude must have spent a ton of time studying and figuring out how to mimic. And if you ever watch any live footage of him, he looks ridiculous doing it, but, whatever. A lot of singers look ridiculous. I mean,
right.
John Mayer face, anybody, I mean. So, this, they added in 4 songs to, like I said, to their original EP songs. And one is actually a cover, and it's called A Change Is Gonna Come, which, if I'm not wrong, is originally by Sam Cooke. I'm much more familiar with the Otis Redding version, but it's obviously not as soulful as that either one of those. But they managed to bring in that like Motown feel, but rock it up a little bit without really losing the feel of the song. And I love that they got some good backup singers, because that's if you haven't ever seen the documentary Muscle Shoals, that really made me appreciate backup singers and just that kind of feel of stuff more. And it was cool to hear it on it. I always get excited when bands do something a little different. So there's that. And then a song called Edge of Darkness, which is kind of ominous, but still Zeppelin-ish rock. Meet on the Ledge and Talk on the Street are both really good new songs. So definitely check them out. I know if you have Amazon Music Unlimited, they're on there. Obviously, I'm sure they're on Spotify. I got the album, I think it was like $7, so I thought that was not bad for a little less than $1 a song.
No, that's not bad.
So yeah, that's my main one. I guess I could say Tom Petty's "You're Gonna Get Me." It's kind of sort of a current spin because that was maybe 2 weeks ago. I was jamming out to that a lot, and also Into the Great Wide Open, which was one that Todd talked about so much on the episode, and I talked about it a little bit, but I had to go back to it because it was just one I was very familiar with, but could not think of particulars while recording. So that's one of my many little journeys I went down afterwards, which is pretty much like I remember after my first episode, I was still stuck on a Linkin Park and Soundgarden Audioslave kick for like a month and a half. So I know I've listened to other stuff, but that's all I can think of at the moment. So I guess I could tell people what the episode's gonna be.
Sure.
I didn't say that the first half or the first half at the beginning. Here I go again. So I struggled to figure out what to call it, and I don't know what it will actually be called on the titling when you get it. But I know when I told Jen about it originally, I was called it sing-along albums. But I don't mean like Kids Bop or anything like that. Sing-along albums. I'm not meaning that.
Well, all of my list is Kids Bop albums, so
that would be amazing if it was. It would definitely be the most unique episode so far.
I totally missed the point of this episode.
Speaking of that, though, have you heard Kids Rapping the Hits?
No.
It was probably about 8 years ago, but I remember. I guess it was them trying to do a spinoff of Kids Bop, but it was definitely more focused on rap, and it was hilarious. And I remember trying to sound like a kid rapping along with it at times, and would just like annoy coworkers with it all the time. And it was amazing. So
they'd have to replace all the bad words with like kid-friendly words?
I guess. I think they just kind of took them out. I don't remember for sure. I'll be honest, I listened to it a few times, but it wasn't something I listened to all the way through over and over again. But it was definitely entertaining. But no, this is not what this is about. But it's basically albums that you can sing along with. Like you're compelled to sing anytime it comes on. Or with me, I know I used to late at night when I'd be driving back from a concert or a long trip by myself, like I'd have to find an album that I knew so well that I'd rock out and sing with to keep me awake. There were so many times, like I'd have rituals of ways to keep myself awake during that. And so you could go either way with it. And I think I explained that to Jennifer when we were talking about this episode originally, I think. So anyway, that's what I mean by sing-along albums. But if she's got Kids Bop on there, I'm not going to kick her out. I mean, let's be nice to her, whatever. Well, actually, I've got to ask, who buys those? I mean, obviously somebody does, because
grandmothers who don't know what to buy their grandkids. I mean, like, I honestly don't know.
Because I think I saw a commercial recently, probably on YouTube, since that's the only place I really watch commercials, that and CW app. But like I think they're in the 40s right now, and I'm like, how many of these do they put out a year? Like, I think that'd be at least 3 a year, probably.
At least, yeah, probably.
And
it's just, as the new pop songs get popular, they just do a cover of it and stick a bunch of them together.
But obviously it makes money, but I just have always wondered, who is this for?
I have no idea.
And I'm also really creeped out by some of the songs they've always done. But, which Kids Bop is on your list, Jen?
Well, it's kind of like Kids Bop from the 60s, I guess, maybe. But my first album is a little bit of a cheat, but not that much of a cheat. It's a soundtrack from The Sound of Music.
Nice.
Which is a musical. Not sure how much into musicals you are.
Not a whole lot, but I actually really do like The Sound of Music, several songs from that.
Well, that's this album. Well, I fell in love with the movie, obviously, and with Julie Andrews, who's just an amazing singer. And this is one of those albums that I can put on, and especially if I have to do something mindless like laundry or dishes or something like that, and I just feel like busting into song in my kitchen, The Sound of Music never fails to do that for me, and I know every word on this album. I've seen the movie just dozens and dozens of times. Listened to this, I can't even tell you how many times I've listened to the album, but it's always so much fun to sing, and the songs, it's a musical, obviously, so the songs are just, stories within the movie, and that's partly why I love it. It automatically brings back all of the images for the movie, especially, the Sound of Music with her on top of the hill, with her arms spread open, and you can't not sing that and see Julie Andrews spinning around on the hilltop. It's happy music, and it's classic. It's beautiful and timeless.
Nice. That is actually probably the first musical I ever watched. My mom was obsessed with it, and I remember it was hilarious. Actually, before my mom finally got me to listen to it or watch it completely with her, I had to listen to it and watch it at school, and really was shocked how much I enjoyed it. And to this day, if I hear the words 16 or 17, that song still pops into my head, even though it's not one of my
favorite songs.
Is it really? Okay.
Yeah.
It's fun to sing, and
it is.
I probably should that would be really probably pretty creepy if I just went around singing that all the time. But I should try it. But
it's charming. It's a charming song. It's not creepy.
No. I mean, creepy coming from a man, like a.
No.
Okay. I'll admit I don't know all the words. I just know the beginning and like the gist of it, I guess. But no. I know it's not a creepy song. I assume certain songs sung by a man would be creepy, but that goes back to my comment earlier in the episode where I do creepy stuff. I don't really consider myself that creepy of a guy, but sometimes I do. But
we're all like that.
Yeah.
Some of my other favorites are Edelweiss, because it's such a like an emotional and personal song. When he's singing it, in both instances in the movie, he sings it in an intimate setting with the family, and then he sings it in front at the end of the movie, in the talent show or whatever they call it, and it's like a very stirring part of the movie and just a beautiful melody. The other song that I like is more fun and whimsical, and it's The Lonely Goat Herd. It's where she does the yodeling.
Okay.
She's amazing. And that it's so fun to try. Of course, I mean, Julie Andrews, I ain't gonna yodel like her, but it's real fun to do it and to just do those little tricks with your voice and attempt to do it. And she's so she has such a lovely, bubbly voice for that song. And then in the movie, you can, she's doing the puppet show, and it's just the perfect. The song and the puppet show going together. It's such a great scene.
Nice. And which song was that again?
It's called The Lonely Goat Herd.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I looked up the soundtrack listing because I was curious because I didn't remember all the names to a lot of it. I just found it. Okay.
And of course, Do Re Mi, teaches you how to sing. So
right.
That's another great song. And My Favorite Things. That's I used to sing that to my son when he was little tiny thing. If he was fussy or trying to get him to sleep, I'd sing My Favorite Things over and over again.
Did it work?
No. No, but I sure did try.
Did he tell you to, Mom, please stop?
Yeah.
Did he really?
He was too little. He was too little then, but he does tell me to stop singing all the time.
Because I think I guess that's a mother-son thing. Because my mom, apparently, I was a music critic as a little kid because I would pretty much. I don't think I went to the extreme of saying they sound so much better, but I pretty much told her to stop singing several times growing up, and that's incredible for me to think back now because I'm like, no, my mom's not an incredible singer by no means, but that's pretty douchey. I can't believe I was telling her that.
Well, it's kids being kids.
I know, but I was mostly a sweet kid, I think. And so to hear her talk about that, like she makes a point and tells my niece all the time, like, at least you like my singing. It's like your uncle did not. So, but cool. Yeah, my favorite things actually. Have you heard the Outcast version of that?
Yeah, I like it too.
Yeah, that actually brought that song back to my mind when that album came out, and I was just befuddled. That's the word that came to mind. I'm charmingly befuddled. That's my first attempt at a bad British voice on the show. I'm sure there'll be more one of these days. But that I was shocked when that song was on there, and it was really cool that Andre thought of that song or that album or movie, whatever, and decided to feature it on there. Any other standouts? I mean, you can talk about as much as you want to about the soundtrack.
Oh, no, seriously, I love every song. Even the one where the nun is singing it to her, and now that title is "Climb Every Mountain." You know, that's not my favorite, but I still love that song, and I know every word to that song. Another one that I always like is So Long Farewell.
Mm-hmm.
When the kids are singing goodnight at the party, and they do the little skit, and they sing the little song, it's just so cute.
That's one that's always stuck with me too. That's one I guess you hear a lot of places, but it always comes back to me. When I was looking for that song you were talking about, the soundtrack listing anyway on Amazon has track 26, Nuns and Nazis, Escape. I just have to say Nuns and Nazis. That made me laugh a little bit.
I think that's more of an instrumental.
I'm sure. Like I don't think I was pretty sure it wasn't like the Producers, Springtime for Hitler kind of thing. Have you seen the Producers?
No, actually, well, maybe a long time ago.
Well, I tried watching the original one, but it was mixed so poorly, at least when I was, or maybe it was just my speaker setup was so bad, like I couldn't get through it because it was like either I couldn't understand them talking, and then, I don't know, it was pretty much like they were yelling a lot and it was getting on my nerves, so I never have watched the original, even though I own it. But the one with Will Ferrell from like 2006 or maybe 2004, Matthew Broderick and Nathan Lane are the main two.
Right.
It's hilarious. And that song, Springtime for Hitler, always is such a ludicrous concept. So that's where my mind went with that. But yeah, I figured that was an instrumental. I didn't imagine it to be Nuns and Nazis.
I'm saying, like, there needs to be lyrics to that song.
I might write them.
Do it.
No one will be as entertained as I will. It'll probably mostly just be me giggling at myself.
Sounds like a Weird Al song.
It does. But yeah, I had Nuns and Nazis, Escape, then it goes into Climb Every Mountain, but that just says it's the reprise, so that must have been earlier in the movie. But anyway, that just stood out to me. So cool. I remember you actually, I think you mentioned this one to me a while back, because we had talked about maybe doing one on musicals, but I told you I was not educated enough on that. So, but maybe if I get educated on it, I might, because I typically err more towards the funny musicals. That's why I love the Producers, the version I saw, the newer one, and loved the Flash episode that had them singing. Yeah. Duet was amazing. And the callback to it in the most recent crossover. Yeah, I loved that. So,
me too.
But any other Sound of Music things that you want to mention?
No, I think those are my favorites.
Okay, cool. Yeah, like I said, I've commented on a few of the songs, and it's one of those things I'm very familiar with. Obviously not as familiar as you, and it's not one I've ever owned or sought out, but definitely I like several of the songs on there, probably a lot more than I know. So, did you rank yours? I don't think
Not really. It's just as they kind of came to me.
I'm trying to decide which one I want to start with. I guess the first one I'll mention No, because of how I started. I'll start with where my mind originally went. My old school classic album that I've listened to so many times for the purpose of staying awake and just I don't know, just one I'm familiar with enough to sing almost all the words to would be Matchbox 20's "Yourself or Someone Like You," and obviously that's not a really old album, but it's like 21 years old now. It looks like yeah, October 96. Yeah, that feels weird saying that. But.
Yeah, it's totally weird.
So maybe people would consider it classic now.
Yeah, it is now.
No, I hate it when it kills me. I die a little inside whenever like stuff I grew up listening to is on classic rock stations and stuff like that. I'm like, no. But anyway, that album is so much fun. Obviously, I like the hits off of it with "Real World." I think that's the song that made me buy it. Because I must have missed it when it first came out because I don't remember originally hearing some of these songs. But I think it was "Real World" that just finally I'm like, I got to get this album. Mm-hmm. But one of my favorites, and apparently it was the first single off of it, and I didn't know that until recently, was "Long Day." Are you familiar with that one?
I don't think so.
It's I mean, there's a lot of anger on the album, but it's a little bit of an angry song. It's about a breakup, and I just always thought that was such a cool song, and the way it, I don't know, the way he, the words are not coming to me. The way he put together the lyrics and everything, it's just unique to me, and a little unlike a lot of their hits. So I'm a little shocked that the record label thought that was a good one to start with, because I mean it's a great song, but it's not one. It's no 3 a.m. Like it's like when I think of that album, as far as what played on the radio a lot would be 3 a.m.
Right.
Push and Real World. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which Push really kind of creeped me out as a child. I loved it. But like I interpreted it like some people did. I recently read that apparently it was about him being in an abusive relationship and the woman was kind of being abusive. But like I always took it like literally like he was pushing her around and he's just going around talking about how he just wants to like be, abusive to women. And I was like, man, I hate that this song is so catchy because I kind of hate this guy right now. So I was kind of relieved to read that it was actually kind of backwards from that. It was at least what he claims. But
right.
As we know with musicians, you can read a lot of different interviews. Sometimes they'll claim different things as their motivation for songs. Who knows what's true? Except for the millions of women he's dated.
Millions?
Well, I don't know. I mean, they've been around 21 years since this album, and he was actually around before then as Tabitha's Secret, which I've only listened to a little bit of. So anyway, it's a fun album. It's also the album that I tried to play a song off of the first time, and that was during my brief stint on trying to play guitar, and that was the closing track, which is really depressing, but it's simple, which is why I attempted it. And it was a song called Hang. It is not about suicide or anything like that, even though it kind of sounds like that from the title. It's about a breakup.
It's about laundry.
That would be interesting, yeah. There should be a laundry album.
I could write a laundry album.
Do it.
It would be the most boring album ever.
But no, Hang, it's... Oh gosh, I can't even think how to describe it other than it's kind of I think it's more acoustic-y and very simplistically talks about a breakup, and that was just always one that I liked when I first heard it, and then like going through college and breakups and everything, it kind of resonated with me. So I learned it, or sort of learned it, and so that's always been my connection with that album, was either that I tried to play it a little bit, that I could sing along with most of the songs. And that, like I said, it could keep me awake because it was just one of those that I knew well enough that I would not disengage from it, and I would drum, I'd sing, I'd laugh, because my Rob Thomas voice is all over the place. It probably morphs more into Scott Stapp than anything else, but that's pretty much most of my 90s stuff goes into that. But
right, I was going to say, isn't that all bands from that era?
Yeah, I think Ted hit it pretty well, if you've ever seen the movie Ted, where he goes off in the 90s growl. I want to be with you. I mean, which don't get me wrong, I love Darius Rucker as a singer. He's great, and Hootie and the Blowfish, love. But it's funny, I'd never really pictured or thought about them being in that same category. But they got that kind of baritone style that most everybody did at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Jen, do you have a lot of memories of this album, or have you ever owned it?
I know I listened to the crap out of 3 a.m.
Right.
Because, it felt like such a deep song, I think, at the time. We were all very angsty and whatnot. So it just felt like one of those songs that just spoke to your little teenage heart.
Right. Have you ever heard the Live from the X Lounge version of it?
I don't think so.
I got that album from Russell years ago. Probably one of the many things that I, we'll just say I borrowed them and listened to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Live from the X Lounge, it was something I think out of maybe Atlanta they would do, and I think it's 97 comes to mind. But anyway, it's a kind of an acoustic-y version, very different, that comes to mind of that song. I always thought that was cool. And I want to say they might have incorporated piano on it, maybe. I know I've heard a version that has piano on it, and think that's really cool. Any other songs from it?
Well, I think the other one that you mentioned was Real World.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't really... The hits were pretty much all I know of this one.
Right. Did you ever hear this? I mean, of course you heard it, but Back to Good, that was like the last hit off the album. Did that one ever resonate with you? I was trying
to remember if I had seen that one or heard that one. I think so, but it's not sticking in my head.
Right. It's not rocking at all, and it's not even as poppy. Well, I guess it's poppy. It's just like slower pop, but it's one of those that's basically written for radio, I think. Even though I'm looking at the listing, it says it's 5.5 minutes long. It seems a little long for radio, but I'm glad I'm not the only one that cheats while we go through this, because
Wikipedia is my best friend.
Well, I'm trying not to do it on my computer this time because my laptop is super old, and I think that's what made me log down a couple times my last episode. So I'm doing all this on my phone, or a lot of mine that I prepare is on paper because I'm old school like that, and I like killing trees. So, but no, there's just so many good songs on the album. I'm glad at least you're familiar with it. Definitely. I'm pretty sure anybody listening to this show has heard this album, I would imagine, because it's just such a popular album from when we were in, I guess, middle school, high school, somewhere around there. So, anyway, any other thoughts on it?
No.
Okay. Well, what is your second album you want to mention?
Okay, my second album is from Shinedown.
Oh,
it's,
nice.
Their Leave a Whisper album. And that was like 2003, and then they did like a re-release in 2004 that was like a deluxe edition that added their cover of Simple Man.
Yes, I love that.
Which, when I listen to this, I always listen to the deluxe version because I really adore their version of Simple Man.
Yes. Oh, some people would down it for being like, because he does it more acoustic-y, but I dig it. Like, I really dig it.
The Brent Smith's vocals are strong enough that I don't miss the Leonard Skinner version, honestly, because that song is powerful when he sings it. But this album is one of those, for me, it's one of my angry albums, like, because there's a lot of attitude in these lyrics.
Yes.
And I remember probably the first song that I heard was probably 45, and that's a brutal song. Kind of dark, which a lot of these are, but that has a very angsty type of feel to it, and that's what got me hooked on Shinedown. And then this whole album has that sort of the lyrics are some of them are just, I just feel them in my soul. Like it's one of those that I really connect to. And then the vocal performance is just outstanding. I love his voice, and some of my favorites on this one, it's really hard to pick out, but the first one is Fly from the Outside, or Fly from the Inside, and then about middle way through Burning Bright, and then 45's at the end. So the structure of the album really works for me too, in the way that they laid out the songs. They really flow from one to another.
Nice. It's one I need to listen to all the way through again because I'm very familiar with it. I love Shinedown, and he's one of the best modern rock vocalists. Mm-hmm. Like, I was really sad that I didn't hear about it till after the fact, or maybe just short notice. He and I think just the lead guitarist did a show in Destin within the last few years, and I'm like, that would have been really cool just to see an acoustic show of just that, because as much as I love rock, like I love, if you got a good voice, like just an acoustic guitar can be so cool sometimes.
I agree with that.
The first song that really grabbed me off of the album was Q45, and it's one of my favorites to sing off of that album. I know a lot more of the songs on there, but it was one that hit me at the wrong time, and like it would keep me too depressed. So I was like, I had to like skip around, and so that was why I probably not as familiar with it as I am its follow-up, which is also incredible. But very good pick. I mean, like I said, what I heard, I know I've heard the whole album, but what I can remember off of it is incredible. But it was just one of those that at the time kept me too much in my feelings, and I was like, nope, we gotta find something a little, Kids Bop 13.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a better one for that now.
When I want to feel like you said, in your feels, like this, put on some freaking Burning Bright and then let me scream and cry and sing this song.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on the album?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I was completely obsessed with that Simple Man version, as I earlier mentioned. I've probably listened to that version more than I have the original, which probably is a sin coming from Southerners. But don't get me wrong, I like Leonard Skinner, and I'll reference that documentary one more time, Muscle Shoals. I needed to get the album back out. They originally recorded one of their first albums. It might have been their first album at Muscle Shoals, but because of some record label issues, they ended up going with somewhere else and doing different versions. But like they later released it, and it's incredible. So I definitely love some Leonard Skinner. But is it Brent Smith? Is that his name from Shinedown? Yeah, he's just incredible, and his version of Simple Man is one of my favorites.
It is. It's like talking about it. I'm trying to resist from putting it on because I just want to hear it.
I was reading the description of it. They compared it to Skinner, Led Zeppelin, Otis Redding, Stained, and Tool. I think it's just saying they took some influences from all those, because it's definitely, I don't hear any Tool in there whatsoever. But
no, not really.
Definitely maybe some Stained, but nope. That would be interesting. I wonder if they've ever, I'm sure they have, covered some Zeppelin. I'd imagine he could do a good job with that.
Oh, yeah. I'd be interested to hear that.
I'm going to have to look that up later. It's a really cool pick. I know originally we talked about whether we should share or not. I'm like, no, for once I'm not going to share my list because I kind of want to be surprised. And I knew there'd be some rock on there because I know we've talked about Metallica before. But my second album that I was going to mention is Make Yourself by Incubus.
Ooh, okay.
That album, it was pretty much a tie between that and Morning View, but I'm more familiar with the lyrics to Make Yourself, so I stuck with it. Have you ever heard that all the way through?
I don't think I have.
Okay. I was lucky enough to have a friend that had it back in high school, because that was back when CDs cost like $18 if you didn't get them at Walmart. If you had to go to one of the specialty stores, it's insane how expensive they were.
It was.
So high school me, I had to be very picky on what I bought. But after I got obsessed with Pardon Me after listening to the Little Nicky soundtrack, I was very happy that my friend had this album, and so I listened to it a ton. And don't think I ever owned a copy of it until college, but obviously part of me is the reason why I grabbed it. It's just such a good rap rocky thing, which I was big into at the time. It's really the only song like that on the album. But then Drive radios, and that I will credit with what little bit of non-Metallica or the baritone singing that I do, I learned partly from that song, because I remember mimicking it, and that was way higher than I'd sung much at the time, because as I'm sure you're aware with, guys' voices change. And like pretty much when voice could go deep, just so it wouldn't crack, I just started singing bass for so many years, like at church and places like that. And then I would go to baritone because that was just easy. But I was like, oh man, I can actually sing some high stuff. And so that was like one of the first songs that got me singing higher and making me realize, hey, I'm not incredible, but I can do it. I can do some of this. So I don't know, that's a fun one. Looking through the track, I didn't actually get a chance to listen to this before this recording, so some of it's not quite as familiar as it once was, but Privilege and Nowhere Fast are both incredible. Stellar, of course.
Stellar.
Beautiful song. Make Yourself is a very angry song. I think it's also the most profane on the album, but like I just love that song. And it's a great one if you're angry. So, I Miss You. I'm trying to think how long it goes actually at the moment, but I know it's because there is another album that I'll later mention that also has a title of a song called that, and so I'm getting it confused right this second in my head. But yeah, it's a really good rockin' late 90s album. It came out in 99. I probably was digging it in like 2000 or 2001, but it always will hold a warm spot in my heart. And like I said, it got me singing something different, which was much needed, because I would hate to think if I guess I wouldn't have made it to my age now with not ever trying any other style of singing, but at the time I was just like, gotta sing bass. Your voice might crack otherwise. And so, yeah. Any thoughts on it other than that?
I really love Drive. Like, I just had that on like 2 days ago, singing it, because it's like you said, well, for me, it has a little bit of lower things, and then it has things that are more in my range, and it kind of drops between those two. And I really love the lyrics and the imagery in that song.
Do you remember the video?
I just watched the video.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, because that's I always picture the video of.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, you. I'm glad you brought that point, because yeah, he definitely has a lot of lower stuff in there, but he hits so many high notes. Like, I know a lot of times if I would try to sing it, I would typically start a little lower than the song actually started, so I could the high notes I could actually hit. I don't think I've ever been brave enough to try it karaoke, but I know my senior year I was dumb enough to think I should sing it at senior night. Thankfully, my friend did not oblige and played on guitar for me, because I don't know how you feel about your singing as you've gotten older, but my 18-year-old voice was very different than my now voice, and I learned a lot more vocal control after that, and so I don't want to think about how bad that would have been if I'd gotten up there in front of everybody and sung that. So instead, I'd sing something in my range. It's not unusual at my senior night, which got an amazing reaction, and I'm glad I went with it.
Really?
Yeah, well, because my personality, I talk a lot once you get to know me, but otherwise I'm pretty quiet, and people think I'm serious too, which I'm not, but I mean, whatever. So people did not expect me to get up there and sing and dance and sing something so kind of cheesy.
Something like Sweet Caroline.
I was actually watching the video. Sorry, this is going way off into story time, but whatever. They're listening. They'll listen to it. That from my friend Sam's wedding, where I had no clue what the guys were doing, where they were putting hamburger to Sweet Caroline, and like they just were signaling for me to go over, and I'm like, no, I'm hungry. There's desserts out here. So like the video is me occasionally chiming in, but mostly me just eating a donut while standing behind them.
And I saw that video on my birthday, and it made my day.
Because like the wedding's loud, I couldn't really tell until the end that they were saying hamburger. Which if you don't know, there's a guy out there from Def Jam Comedy, Alonzo Hamburger Jones. Mm-hmm. Google that, YouTube it. A few of them won't be so impressive, but man, that became something Greg was obsessed with a little while back, and a lot of us still are obsessed with it to this day because of that. So yeah,
it's awesome. That's why.
It is. It's crazy, and I was glad when I heard it explained because I was really confused to begin with. I'm like, why is he saying hamburger so much? But it was in place of profanity, and so I thought that was kind of cool.
Hamburger.
Ain't gonna have it. Did you think people would be talking about this months later? Because I'm trying to think.
Yes.
When Greg discovered this.
Ethan just said it like 2 days ago.
Nice. Yeah, I was so happy when you said you've gotten Ethan to watch it.
Caught on with him.
So you'll be hearing about this for years, probably.
Yes, hopefully so.
Because with kids, I mean, I know they change their interests from time to time, but typically most of us keep catchphrases.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess that's all I have to say about Make Yourself. Do you want to go ahead and go with your number 3?
Sure.
Okay.
So this one, I was trying to remember when I got it, and I kept coming up short. It is the Beatles 1.
Oh, nice. Yes.
Their remastered sort of greatest hits album. And I can't remember if I saw like a movie or something. I got into a Beatles kick, and it was right around the time that this came out, and it was all the songs, all the Beatles songs that I knew at the time and that I loved, and I still have the CD. Like, it's an old scratched up CD that when I listen to it in the car, it just skips constantly.
Yes.
And when of course I have it on Spotify now, but I do like to pull out the CD for whatever reason. I don't know. You pretend like it's a vinyl,
right,
for my car. And but it's the compilation album released in 2000. So I keep trying to remember what would have sparked me to become obsessed with the Beatles at that point, but I don't know what it was. But this album has, classic Beatles songs on it. And let's see. There we go. Some of my favorites are Ticket to Ride.
Oh, yeah.
Or as my son calls it, Chicken to Ride, because that's what he heard when I was singing it. Which, now, when he said that, I couldn't unhear it. So then, now, every time I sing that song, it's always Chicken to Ride.
Did he come up with any other lyrics to it, or is it just that?
No, he's just like, because, he heard me singing it, and I was grooving, and he's like, Mama, why is he saying he has a chicken to ride? It's like...
Hey, it kind of makes sense. They could have given it to Ringo,
and
it could have been
like that.
Octopus's Garden Part 2. I mean, they sing about some weird stuff, so
they do.
I can imagine it. So I liked that his mind went there.
And one of my other favorites on there is Day Tripper.
Mm-hmm.
I just like the sassiness of that song. And of course, it's the Beatles, and it's a compilation of all their songs. So every song is great, but it's really fun to sing along with if you're kind of like needing a little bit of. It's sort of like for me, it's sort of like a sunshiny day type thing. Like the sunroof is open, and you're just kind of bopping around, bebopping to the Beatles.
Any bopping to it?
Not any bopping. Just,
okay.
the Beatles are just so fantastic and special, and just it has that sort of that feeling that I say nostalgia, but I can't have nostalgia for an era I wasn't in. But you know what I mean?
Well,
like it gives that sort of throwback feeling.
I guess literally we can't, but I kind of feel that way about it too. It still takes me back to the place I was when I first heard it, sort of.
Right.
Yeah. Now, do you only listen, or do you mainly listen to it on days that you're already in that kind of mood, or do you do it to like put you in that mood?
That is a good question. Probably when I'm already in that sort of mood.
Okay.
When I just feel like happy singing, you know?
Cool. Yeah, I asked that because one of mine I'm going to mention later on is for the opposite reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see why that would work that way. I too owned this one back in high school, but didn't get as into it until way later. But what are some of your other songs off of it? Anything else you want to throw some love to?
Well, I mean, it's like Come Together.
Right.
Hold Your Hand. Really, any of them. I mean, they're just instantly recognizable, and most everybody knows at least most of the lyrics. It's, they're very short songs, fairly repetitive, not very complicated lyrically or musically, really, but just happy making music.
Right. Yeah. Sorry, I was multitasking. I was listening, but I was also multitasking for a comment I wanted to make. But have you ever heard the German version of "Hold My Hand" or "Hold Your Hand"?
No.
Now I'm gonna completely butcher this, and but they apparently I think it was not Past Masters, or maybe it was. Yeah, Past Masters. Apparently. And I guess it sounds like them, so I think they had to learn the versions in other languages. But there were 2 tracks on there in German, and it was their version of "Hold My Hand," and it was "Komm, gib mir dein Hand."
That just somehow doesn't flow as easily.
Yeah, and I'm not even going to say the last part because it's just going to sound really bad. So anyway, Google it, because I'm sure it's completely pronounced differently. Actually, no, I don't think it is because I've listened to it before. But it's interesting. It's a lot more words, it feels like, or syllables to fit into it, but they make it work.
I always assume everything in German just sounds angry, so it'd be like, I want to hold your hand.
That would be amazing if it had been that way. I don't think it would have been a hit in Germany then.
No, probably not.
They've been probably really mad at these British people for basically making fun of them. So earlier you mentioned Day Tripper, and that is one of the bass groove from it. I don't know if you ever listen to music with a lot of bass, but if you ever turn up bass with any Beatles stuff, especially, I guess any of it, but really starting in the mid 60s, Paul does some really cool stuff with the bass guitar. And
the bum ba da 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 dum. Yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah.
And there's even some more like subtle stuff, and I can't think of the name of the song that I noticed it on from around that time frame that I recommend. I think that'd be Rubber Soul, I think. But don't kill me, Beatles fans, if I'm wrong on that. I'm going off memory, not off my way I'm cheating sometimes. But yeah, that is an incredible listing of songs, and you mentioned the short length of the songs, and that's why they were able to put 27 on one disc, which is still amazing.
It is.
Let It Be, obviously, is an amazing song, and that's such a cool way to end the album.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, who's your favorite Beatle?
Oh, dude. It's got to be John.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
I know he's one of the main 2 people that people go with. I always have to go Paul because if I'm going to mimic someone vocally from the Beatles, I'm going to try him. Even though probably the one I'm most likely to sound more like would be a Ringo, but
Bingo.
he had the lower register and everything. But no, not "Oh Darling," which is also a Paul song. "Golden Slumbers" is one of my favorites to sing. I think I referenced that before, and which is not on this because it's not one of the huge hits, but it's definitely one that's known by fans. But I teared up at a friend's wedding when that was sung, or not sung by anybody there, just played, and it was a daddy-daughter dance, and like I was like, okay, David, you're not going to cry in public, but fight it back, fight it back. But I love that song so much, and I thought it was a sweet moment, and so yeah, I do cry occasionally, yeah.
Own it. Get in touch with your feelings.
Yeah, that actually was a funny wedding. It was not Sam's wedding, but like it was. All of us had to fight tears because my friend Zach. Well, you've met Zach from the Nerd Cave, haven't you?
Oh yeah, I know who he is, but I don't think we've met.
Yeah, he got really emotional doing the vows, which I mean I understand completely because he wrote his own vows. But like I would have had to abandon that like halfway through and just be like, screw it, we'll do this later in a more private setting because
I don't know. You're kind of on that time crunch, when you're doing your vows, you can't really put it off.
Well, I mean, but like I would have abbreviated it somehow, and like
etc.
Right. I mean, because it went on for a while because he lost his composure several times. But like that translated, I was one of his groomsmen, and that translated to us. And like it was so hard not to start crying too because it was just such a sweet moment. And I'm like, you are not going to cry in front of this many people. It's not your wedding. You can't cry in front of people. So like apparently one of the bridesmaids made a game about watching us and see if any of us got emotional. And later we talked about it, and they're like, well, you didn't show. I'm like, really? Dude, I was fighting it a few times because I got that way at Nick's wedding too. So, anyway, sorry, side note there. But Golden Slumbers, yes, almost made me cry at a wedding. So, any other tracks you want to give some love to off of it, or?
Well, you can't go wrong with Penny Lane or Hey Jude.
Oh yeah.
Na 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 na.
And if you want a good laugh, listen to the Bing Crosby version of that. Did you check that out when Todd was talking about that one time? Pum 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 pum. Like it's so proper and not at all like the original song, but like he pretty much loses the point of the song, the soul of the song, by trying to be so proper. I mean, don't get me wrong, Bing Crosby, he's a good singer, but Hey Jude did not sound right covered by him. So yes, Google YouTube that. Any other ones?
Honestly, really, I mean, they're all fantastic.
Oh yeah. The Long and Winding Road became a favorite of mine a few years ago, or probably several years ago, and that's mainly because why do I go into story time? I just always do. Hopefully people like that.
Well, it's songs, songs do that to you. It reminds you of something, or like you said, takes you back to something. So, I think that's part of the fun of it.
Okay, I hope so. But Greg and I would sing The Long and Winding Road that leads to Keith's house. Because our friend Keith, anytime we went there, like we would always get confused towards the end because it was a long drive. It's outside Atlanta, and there was just this really winding part that I would really feel like we were in the wrong neighborhood. But once we'd gone there a few times, we'd always like burst into song and sing that, and Russell would just look at us. He might have chimed in a little bit, but I think a few times he didn't get nearly as into it as we did. But that's the story of my friendship with a lot of my friends. Like sometimes we're all on the joke, and other times it's just like two of us that really dig it. But that's where that song takes me. I Feel Fine's another cool one off the first disc. Or I say the first disc, maybe I'm looking at the vinyl version because it has it listed into two sides, even though I know it was one CD. So I don't know. I just click on things on Amazon and
I really like the way maybe like the first 6 songs flow together because they're all really short, like 2 minutes, 2 and minutes and like less than 2.5 minutes. So like Love Me Do, From Me to You, She Loves You, I Want to Hold Your Hand, Can't Buy Me Love. So those all sort of like flow together, and I really like how they're grouped on the album.
Nice. Yeah, like I said, it's been a while since I listened to this album. More of a typically when I go back through re-listening, I go through studio albums, but I should try this out again just to see how it flows. But I can see why it would flow really well because just short songs and So Happy. Like that was back before they started.
It is, yeah.
That was back before they started branching out and bringing in something else. Where I think they were kind of sick. I think they were sick of that style by then.
They probably were. They outgrew it, probably.
I would imagine. Have you ever watched the 8 Days a Week documentary?
I want to say I have, but it's been a long time.
It's on Hulu. It's is it 8 Days a Week? I think it was. Howard directed it, I think. But it came out about a year ago, I want to say, on Hulu, and I'd highly recommend it to anybody. Because it was mostly about their touring years and just gave some cool insight to it. Yeah, I was right. It's 8 Days a Week, Beatles. It was from 2016. Okay, Hulu, don't play it. Okay. I thought I clicked on it too many times and I thought we were about to hear in the background.
Maybe I started it and I didn't finish it. Something like that.
Yeah, it was a weekend I was obsessed with music. Like, that's rare, but watched that and the Metallica documentary, Some Kind of Monster.
That's a good one, too.
Oh, my gosh. Very different feels, obviously, between the two.
Yeah.
Because I don't think even Paul or John, at their angriest, can come close to James and Lars wanting to kill each other.
No, absolutely not.
But cool. Well, that's a really good one. I remember you asked me earlier if greatest hits counted, and I was really curious to see which greatest hits you were coming up with, because there's definitely one on my list. But actually, I'm going to say let's take a quick break, and come back in just a few.
All right.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hey, pro wrestling announcer Kevin Kelly here. I want to make sure you are all subscribed to all the great feeds here at Place to Be Nation. It's really easy to do. Just head to iTunes or your preferred podcatcher app today and search and subscribe to the Place to Be Nation wrestling feed, which of course includes the full archives of the Kevin Kelly Show, the Place to Be Nation pod feed, and the Pro Wrestling Only feed. Subscribe, listen, and then rate us and leave feedback today. And be sure to give Justin your true thoughts. I mean, don't hold back. After all, he is kind of a jerk. Just listen to Scott.
Place to Be Nation's JT Rosero and Chad Campbell here. We want to let you know that we have a ton of great podcasts available to you on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and PlayStation.com, and we offer those to you on 3 great feeds. On the Place to Be Nation Wrestling feed, we bring you the Mothership, the original Place to Be podcast, as well as Main Event, Lucha Afterground, and our monthly pay-per-view reaction shows, as well as the Our Vantage Point podcast and Jeff Learns Wrestling. In addition to these full-length shows, we also deliver quick-hit pod blasts on topics old and new.
Over on the Pro Wrestling Only feed, we dive deep inside the wrestling business with a stacked army of experts leading the way. The feed features potpourri shows such as This Week in Wrestling, Greetings from Allentown, Psychology is Dead, Puro Potpourri, Stacy and Elliot's Bogus Journey, and the Military Industrial Suplex. We also have shows that focus intently on certain topics like Letters from Center Stage, Space City, and NWA Classics on Demand Adventure, Through the Years, Strong Style History, Strong Style Story, and Mount Olympus. Plus, the feed has the full archives of legendary shows like Titans of Wrestling, Where the Big Boys Play, Letters from Kayfabe, and much more. And on our popular Place to Be Nation Pop podcast feed, we offer such great shows as the Glenn Butler Podcast Hour Spectacular, Rank and File, PTBN Dadcast, Go Home in a Box, NBA Team, and Lucha Undead, as well as a veritable podcast heaven for comics fans with the Hard Traveling Fanboys, Sellers Points, Todd Weber's Conversation, Geek and Sassy, and Imaginary Stories podcasts.
You can find all of these current shows plus archives of our past podcasts, including The Kevin Kelly Show, as well by subscribing to all of our feeds on iTunes. And while there, be sure to rate and leave feedback as well. All of these shows, plus others, available on PlaceToBeNation.com, where we cover pro wrestling, sports, movies, comics, plus in-depth stretch projects and more. Be sure to support our site by using PlaceToBeNation.com/Amazon when shopping online, and download our free PTB Vintage Vault Refresh ebooks via the links on our site. We also want to thank our friends at Bonehead's Wing Bar in West Warwick, Rhode Island, and Fall River, Massachusetts, TheHistoryOfWrestling.com, and Scott Keith's Blog of Doom. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr as well. PlaceToBeNation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
This is the tale of Captain Jack Sparrow, pirate so brave on the seven seas, a mystical quest to the Isle of Tortuga, raving like sway on the ocean's breeze. Oh, from the day he was born, he yearned for adventure. Oh, Captain Jack, giving them what for? He's the pauper of the surf, the jester of Tortuga, but is Davy Jones' locker what lies in store? This is the tale of the Disney marauder, the true pirate lord, the crustacean king, dismissed as a fool and then hailed as a hero. Sir Captain Jack lives on inside you and me, literally.
And welcome back. Thanks for coming back to Sunday Groove, Episode 5, in case you forgot, while you listen to commercials, which episode you're listening to. We're returning to talking about sing-along albums. And I stopped at a random spot because, well, let's just say Nurture called, and needed to take a little break. So I guess it's my turn, actually, for my third album. And mine is also going to be a greatest hits. It's one I think I threw a little love to a little while back. I think it was actually just last episode, but didn't talk in depth about it because that was not the topic of the episode. And that's going to be not just the best, but the very best of Daryl Hall and John Oates. I have no clue if that's actually the official title or not. That's what Wikipedia had it listed as. But as with anybody that had that long of a career, they have more than one greatest hits collections. The first I owned was only 10 songs long, and this was my favorite $2 purchase I've ever gotten. I don't think that's exaggerating. Like, I don't know why back then Amazon, before they started doing their music app, they were just occasionally doing really cheap album sales occasionally, and this was one of the ones that was like $2, along with a couple Coldplay albums I got and a few other things. It was really random, but 18 tracks of Hall & Oates. Obviously, the one that people always go to is You Make My Dreams, which is incredible.
Yes.
I've always had a dream of that being played at a wedding, or even maybe me even singing that at a wedding, but don't think anybody's going to request that, so maybe I'll have to do that on my own eventually. If she'll indulge me, she'll probably be like, no!
Just use that song as your bells.
That would be amazing.
You can use pretty much any of these songs for your bells.
Well, except for Sarah Smile, unless her name's Sarah. I don't think she would like me talking about Sarah Smile. Well, Sarah Smile, yeah, I know your name's Karen, but Sarah Smile, let's talk about that.
You can change it. Any, syllable name.
But mention that song, Sarah Smile is incredible. It's a little different than a lot of their hits. I'm thinking it was before they really went more poppy, because some of their early stuff I've only listened to a little bit of, but it wasn't nearly as poppy as the stuff that we know by them, or I say most people know. There's probably some huge Hall & Oates fan out there that's like, I loved them before they were popular. I mean, there's something like that for every band, but I doubt they're listening to my show. I highly doubt it. But if they are, please tweet me. I would love to hear that. I'll be like, you like them once they sold out. I remember Hall & Oates when they were just blues, or I can't remember what it was different. Like they had some Oates themed album name earlier on that was very different style. But Rich Girl, of course, another huge one. It's a Laugh. Let's see. Wait for Me. Let's see. Oh, one of my favorites to sing is Kiss on My List. Like I make that joke so many times, and Greg always graciously likes it or pretends to. But whenever somebody talks about making a list, I typically asking if my Kiss is on that list, and most people I think just kind of either they don't like it or don't get the reference, but Greg's like, yep, he always. No, not that he says that my Kiss is on his list, but but he always sells that one a little bit. Private Eyes, I have to admit, was one I didn't get into as much until after Veronica Mars, of all things. Have you ever watched Veronica Mars?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. What's the douchey other Private Eye?
You had to ask me that. I know who you're talking about.
Anyway, I love it when he figures out that she planted a bug in his pen, or I think it was something like that, and he starts singing to the lyrics of Private Eyes. And I thought that was so clever, since they were Private Eyes. So anyway, this is my go-to. Either I'm already in a good mood and I just want to stay giddy, or more likely, it is I'm pissed off. It's morning. I hate morning. Why did this come already? I need to cheer myself up. Let's cheer myself up. So I'll pop it in, and it typically works. I'm not gonna say it always works. I probably should have used it this morning because I was not feeling it this morning. But so that's typically how this album goes with me. So it's my pick-me-up album. That's why I asked you about the Beatles one. Because like I said, I'm sure there's plenty of times I'm already in a good mood and I dig this out, but a lot of times I'm really dragging in the morning and I can't help but start singing and dancing. Thank God there's no cameras around my apartment.
That you know of.
Right. Somebody's probably hacked my computer or phone and gets my sweet moves. I know you've mentioned before you and Ethan have little dance parties.
Oh, yeah.
So I have some of those myself, just and whether it's in place of working out or whether it's just to try to transport my mood or whatever. Oh, Man Eater! I forgot about Man Eater. Yeah. Out of Touch is good. I mean, all of it's good. Shocking thing I'm going to say, and please don't hate me, Jenny. I know most women love this song, but You've Lost That Lovin' Feelin'. That does absolutely nothing for me. Like I don't know. I guess they did a cover on this album, and I was like, okay. And that's the only one I skipped. So I'm sure
I'll allow it.
Okay, I'm sure most women love that song. I think even most guys love that song. But I was like, What movie is that from? Was that Dirty Dancing, or is that
Top Gun?
Top Gun. That's right. I knew I was going to get that wrong. Anyway, how familiar are you with this, Jenny? Are you a big Hall & Oates fan, or?
I guess I'm kind of a low-key Hall & Oates fan because I was looking at the titles on the album. I was like, I totally know all of these songs.
Okay, nice.
I actually listened to Man Eater like 2 days ago. I don't know why. Just something stuck in my brain, and I had it on. And I don't know the words to that one as well as some of the other ones, like Rich Girl. I like that.
Oh yeah.
You Make My Dreams. That's such a fun song. And I Can't Go For That.
Yes, that was the one. It's right here in front of me, but I overlooked it. That's got like a ridiculously high note.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't go for that. Towards the end, he just hits a ridiculous thing.
I wonder which one of us would end up singing first.
Well, my original plan was to sing at the beginning of the show, but I'm like, I'm totally gonna blow my voice if I did what I originally planned. But I can't go for that. It's just so much fun, and it's fun because it goes back and forth between lower and higher. And so yeah.
I don't know which one of them sings which. I don't. Honestly, I couldn't tell you which person is which.
Oh.
Which one is Hall and which one is Oates?
Oates is the one with the amazing stash.
Okay, that seems
the Tom Selleck, just one of those.
Freddie Mercury.
Freddie Mercury, yeah. Sam Elliott was the other one. Has an incredible stash. Like he goes in that list of people with amazing stashes. I can't say for sure who sings what, but I want to say Daryl is usually the one that's going for the higher stuff. I think, as I want to say that Oates might have been more the musician of the two. I think they both are musicians, but I want to say I don't know. I don't know any of that for sure. That's just my guess. But I definitely pretty sure some of the high stuff is Daryl, and he's got an incredible voice still. Like I watched, it's not called Hall Sessions. I can't remember. Greg told me about it, but he just has like musicians around a campfire and just kind of hangs out playing music and records it occasionally, and it's crazy. He's I think mid to late 60s and he still sounds incredible.
Oh wow.
Yeah. He either has had surgery to repair his vocals or really has taken care of his vocals over the years, because most have the Steven Tyler effect where it's a lot raspier and I mean it doesn't sound horrible, but it's just not what it was. And I mean I'm sure his isn't quite what it was back then, but still a really good singer. I've got to go see them one day. Like I've got to see them in concert.
I think that would be a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah, I've always thought it'd be pretty funny if it ended up being like mostly women and then just like a few guys there, but which is very likely to be the case for this band. But
like a Michael Bolton concert, for example.
Dude, if I ever went to a Michael Bolton concert, I would totally wear a wig. I would totally do the Bolton wig. Did you watch that Netflix special, the Valentine's Day one, Bolton?
Yes.
I love that he brought the wig back.
It was actually pretty good.
It was, yeah. But yeah, the little that I know other than the songs and their lyrics and the who has the mustache, I don't know. It's a fun album. It's one that for a long time I kind of hid the love of, and then I'm like, screw it, it's good. And
it is good.
And it's so different than most of the stuff I listen to. As the first 4 episodes of my show showed, I'm very into rock, and that's probably not going anywhere, but I love pop as well, and good old Hall & Oates. So do you have any other thoughts on them? Like I know you say you knew all the songs, and that's...
No, I think that's about it.
Yeah, I guess I covered it. I felt like I was leaving something out, which is what I typically do. I feel that way, I mean. So what is I guess this is going to be your 4th one you've mentioned? What is yours?
Okay. So this one is a little bit more, it's kind of more current than most of the other ones that I've talked about. And I know that we have talked about this before a little bit, but it's Justin Timberlake's Future Sex Love Sounds.
Yes! Oh my gosh, yes. That's a great album.
And it's from like 2006, even though that sounds like it was it was like 10 years ago, but it doesn't feel like it's been that long. But Justin Timberlake had gone out on his own, from NSYNC, and it had been a while since he had any music when this came out. And boy, when it dropped, he did probably the most famous track would be Sexy Back.
Oh yeah.
And that was like a ginormous hit. And just so much attitude in that song, just so much, like, it just oozes all that sex appeal that Justin has. And a lot of the songs in this album are that way. It's a very sensual type of album, and it has a lot of suggestive lyrics, but it's not dirty. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not. It's not like a explicit sort of dirty album, but it has that sexual nature to it, and it is also one of those where most of the songs, especially in the beginning of the album, they flow into each other. A lot of times there's not a clear distinction between when one song ends and the next one begins. Towards the end of the album, it separates a little bit more, but in the beginning, a lot of it just flows one into the other. I really, really, really like that about this album. It's very cohesive sound in the songs. They're all, distinct and different, but it's so clear that he had such a clear vision for what he wanted to do with this album, and it just comes across in what he does. And he's an amazing singer. His range is just phenomenal. Not many people can do high notes like JT can.
Oh, definitely not.
And as far as, I know every word to this album. I've listened to this so many times. And of course, Sexy Back is that thing that really hooks you, but epic music video too. It's sort of a thematic, kind of like a little mini movie.
Can you circle back for a second? I lost you for about 15 seconds there. You mentioned Sexy Back, and then it kind of cut out.
The other one that I like is What Goes Around Comes Around.
Okay.
And that one had a distinct music video. I don't know if you remember. I think it was Scarlett Johansson that was in it.
Ooh, I'm going to check this out. Completely for Justin's reasons, not Scarlett.
Yeah, exactly. And it had... it's sort of like a little mini movie, that video for that song. And I remember one of my friends was going through a breakup. Not me, but one of my friends was going through a breakup during when that song was popular. So it was something that she always would, text me about, or, she's like, this song is like everything to me right now because I'm going through this breakup. And, but it's just you mentioned Dance Party earlier. This is one of those kitchen dance party albums.
Oh, easily. I can see it.
It's, you kind of want to cut loose a little bit, and, this is one of the ones where Ethan would be like, Mom, I'm not dancing with you to any of these songs.
to none of it?
Probably, he might shake a little for Sexy Back, but that's about it. Yeah, it's just... I miss this type of music from him, honestly.
Oh, me too.
I liked his more current poppy stuff, but this is what I like my Justin Timberlake to sound like.
Oh, for sure. This album was one of the first times I heard Timbaland be very involved in something. And this is the album I refer to whenever I talk about Timbaland being at his best. Like, he helped the flow of the album so much, and really helped Justin on this journey. He did not do nearly as well of a job on his follow-up album that came a lot of years later, and it was like, yeah, they're back together, but if the songs were like half the length on 2020, it might work a little better, but I don't feel any of these songs stayed past their welcome. Like, I listened to this maybe 2 months ago, all the way through. It was the first time I'd heard it in a while. I mean, I can't go very long without listening to Sexy Back, or My Love. Like, those are just, those are so much fun to sing to, and I used to always change the words to Hairy Back, and imagine like all these bears in the video, and dancing around with their hairy backs.
That works.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut in too much there. What other songs any others that stand out to you on there?
I really like My Love. And there was a slow one. Oh, I like Love Stoned. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But really, I mean, like with all of my albums, I like all of these songs.
Oh, it's incredible. And you mentioned earlier about the way the album begins. That's like what I remember about it. Other than I think I remembered, was it All Over Again, or was it Until the End of Time? Which one's the really piano one? Is that the End of Time?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, I had completely forgotten about that one, and I was so happy for the change of pace to that, because I loved the pace up to that point, but we were driving on a long trip. I mean, it was on the way back from Atlanta, and been in the car a lot of hours that day because it was a there and back in one day trip. Insane. But Greg and I did that, and so on the way back I was so happy when it got to some, I mean, I loved the singing along with all the songs, and then it got to something I wasn't as familiar with, and I'm like, that's beautiful.
It is. He does a great job vocally on that song too. It's sort of reflective, and after all the sort of, like I said before, it slightly raunchy, not dirty, but the raunch of the album, and then it just kind of flows into, he just kind of mellows at the end. Right.
Which is one of my favorite ways for albums to end, is to to have the really catchy stuff towards the beginning. I'm gesturing with my hands.
I did that too. When it flows, I did a flowy thing.
Oh, nice.
That's how that works. I look like Scarlet Witch.
Chop Me Up was one I liked because it had 36 Mafia on it, and I thought that was really cool. Did you have like any expectations going into this album, or was this just completely like? Well, let me ask you this: did you like the first album, Justified?
It was okay. It was not what I expected it to be.
Right.
That was his first solo album, right?
Right. Yeah, that was his first one that I crapped all over when it came out originally before hearing it, because I didn't like NSYNC other than Bye Bye Bye. Like, I loved that one just because it. I guess.
Now, I'm a ginormous NSYNC fan, and that's one of the ones that I almost put on this list because I can I can sing all of NSYNC, but he's obviously, to me, the most talented of the group, and I knew he could do it on his own, but I was not too fond of Justified, but this totally redeemed him because it's fantastic.
Oh, it is, and I wasn't. My high school version of myself was who hated on NSYNC. Like, now I've come to actually like a lot of it, especially karaoke or whatever.
Oh yeah.
There may have been some Justin Timberlake, or not Justin Timberlake, some NSYNC or Backstreet Boys at some point karaoke with me and a few friends. So definitely don't hate on them. But at the time, like when Justified came out, I was like, I don't want to hear any band side stuff. And so, like, I knew the hits off of it. But when this came out, actually, oh crap! I remember how this happened. I originally thought I was going to feel about this album not too crazy about it. So I got a copy of it to review for the Trop, the Troy newspaper or the student paper, and I never did it. But that was my idea. Was like I'd covered nothing but positive stuff to that point. And I'm like, I wonder if I'm going to like this or not. This might be my first negative review. And obviously, I fell in love with the album and realized I was wrong. But for some reason, I never did the other review either. But but at least it got me to listen to the album. And yeah, it's incredible. I go back to it from time to time, but it'd been a long time until this most recent listen. So I'm glad you put this on there. I'd forgotten you mentioned that a while back, as you mentioned possibly putting it on an episode at some point. So yeah, really, really cool thing. There was something else I was going to mention about it. I mentioned Timbaland. I mentioned some of his other stuff. Yeah, his vocals are all over the place on it in a good way on the album, and his range is so beautifully accented. Well, we'll go with that. Have you seen any of? Do you watch his movies or anything?
Yeah.
Have you seen? It's kind of I think it was a Coen Brothers film. It wasn't very big, but Inside Llewyn Davis.
I know what you're talking about, but no, I have not seen that one.
There's a song there that's him, and I can't remember if it was a dude from Mumford and Sons or no, because that dude wasn't in the movie. Maybe it was him and let me just Google it. But anyway, he does a duet at some point. And it was very different than typical Justin stuff, and it was really cool to show a little lower register and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But there was one or two good songs on the album that the lead singer of Mumford and Sons helped with too. I wasn't crazy about the album, the movie, but the album was really good, and it was very different than your typical Timberlake stuff. So definitely check that out.
Okay.
Are there any other thoughts before we move on to that, or?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. I'm going to go with this one for my fourth. Silverchair, Neon Ballroom.
Oh, okay.
I take it you remember this one?
It's vaguely.
Okay.
I probably know a couple of tracks.
Anthem for the Year 2000 was the one that, I think that was the first hit I was aware of by them. It's their third album, so I'd probably heard some of their stuff, but it was the first that resonated with me. This is a very dark, but very beautiful album. Their follow-up Diorama is definitely a superior album, but for some reason Neon Ballroom I've always gravitated more to. And part of that's the heaviness, but it brings in like symphony at times, a lot of piano, because the lead singer Daniel Johns can play piano very well, and a lot of other instruments as well. He just incredible dude. He's got one of the best vocals, like ranges of modern rock. The song "Emotion Sickness," it's very depressing, but is beautiful. Well, yeah, I guess the title should give away is "Emotion Sickness." It's happy. I can just hear the snapping. Motion sickness, yeah. I kind of want to redo that song. And if my friend Sam ever hears this episode, he's gonna probably hate on me for that just then. But anyway, no. Motion Sickness is very sad, but it's beautiful as can be. Anna's song, Open Fire, another beautiful song, and actually is about him. He's anorexic, or at least at the time was. And
wow, really?
Yeah, it's one of those random times that a dude is anorexic. I mean, it happens, but it's just less common. But yeah, I think being in the limelight, because they came to fame and they were 15 or so when they first became famous. And as he described it, it was one of those things he could control was his eating, and just came really obsessive about it. And I've been very happy in his recent years. He's appears very healthy, at least as far as he's not scrawny anymore. He's a good size and everything. So very glad he overcame that. The only song I don't like on the album is Spawn Again, and that is one of the weirdest songs. He went on some anti animal cruelty kind of thing, at least in one of the verses, and it was very bizarre. And it's kind of a screaming song, which he screams occasionally in the music, but not a whole lot. But that one he does, and I'm like, okay, well, we'll skip that. But Miss You Love, that was what I was getting confused earlier when I was talking about Incubus's I Miss You. And Miss You Love is beautiful. Kind of bizarre, though, because he still leaves a little melancholy in it. But and it's got some weird lyrics to it. But still overall a beautiful song. Do You Feel the Same? It's great. Black Tangled Heart. Point of View. But Paint Pastel Princess is so cool. I'm trying to think how to describe it, but it's one of those that's... I feel that it's theatrical. That's what I'm going to go with. But it's... you could tell they had a vision. They wanted to differentiate themselves from their first two albums. The first one was very grungy. Second one came a little bit more into the just hard rock and a little bit of symphony added to a couple of strings, added to a few songs. But this one, they were really experimenting. And in 1999, I thought it was pretty impressive. So it's one I come back to. It's one of those I have to be a little careful with, as I mentioned earlier when you mentioned your Shinedown album. Kind of take my head a little negative headspace if I'm allowed to stay there too long. But beautiful album, and I definitely recommend trying it out because I'm not saying it all will be up your alley, but I imagine it's unique. We'll go with that. So it's one that I feel everybody should hear at least once if they like rock. If they don't like rock, obviously it's not one I'd give to somebody that doesn't like rock and be like, hey, try this out. Then they'd probably like swear off that and go listen to everything else. So you said it sounds a little familiar, but did you know any of the songs off of it?
No, I don't think so. I think this is the first one that you stumped me with because I'm not up with this one, but I'll check it out.
Yeah, cool. It's one that I imagine. I know a lot of people have heard, but I'm sure a lot of people kind of slept on because I think any '90s kid, like in music in the '90s, we probably heard that song, and I thought that was like the only song I listened to it for the longest time was Anthem for the year 2000. Because like even before the Y2K thing, like I just thought year 2000 sounded so futuristic and so cool,
right.
And like it was going to be so impactful, and it did nothing. But it sounded cool at the time, so that kind of went along with that. If you're out there and you've never listened to Silverchair, check it out. I would say either this, probably this, would be their best one to jump into. Unless you just won't like grunge. A lot of people hated on their first album because it was grunge. Oh, and I forgot to mention they're from Australia, which might be part of the reason why they kind of jumped into grunge a little later. Because I think their first album was in '95, but a lot of people like that album, but some hate on it because it's a little more simplistic. But yeah, Silverchair's a band I think everybody should listen to at least once. So, what is this going to be your fifth one, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. So this is one that you talked. I think you and Russell talked about your most influential albums, or I forgot the way you guys titled it. It was favorite albums or something like that. Anyway,
it was the me and Greg episode. It was.
That was it, Greg. Okay.
Yeah. Well, Russell's done 2 episodes, so it's easy to do.
Right.
But it was the most influential, I think is what we called them. I think that's the correct title. Anyway, go with it.
So I was trying to, because I had tweeted you my list of those,
right.
And I was trying to do a different list with this one, and I didn't want to include any of those previous answers onto this list, but this was the one that crossed over because it is like.
I bet I might be able to guess it, but.
It's one that had such an impact on me when I was a young teenager that I still know all the words and still so fun to sing, but it's No Doubt's Tragic Kingdom.
That was exactly what I was about to guess. Just because you mentioned the other list, that just felt appropriate.
And I was thinking about it today when I was looking at the list and actually pulling up all the songs and having to sing them all over again. And I saw the release date was October 10th of 1995, and it just sparked a memory that I got the CD for my birthday.
Oh, nice.
Because my birthday was on the 8th, so I got that as part of my birthday present when it came out, because it was it was a big deal when Tragic Kingdom came out, especially girls my age and the type of music that it was different than what we had heard to that point, because it was like kind of coming out of grunge. It's sort of like the mid-90s, not pop and not rock. It was something else, something sort of different. And Gwen Stefani is an amazing front woman for that band. I'd never seen anybody like her before. I'd never heard anybody like her before. I was 13 years old, and it was for me. It spoke to me. But that's such a great album. Like some of my others, it has such a cohesive sound. The songs all flow really well together again, and the lyrics are just so much what my little 13-year-old heart was just feeling at the time. Because probably most people know, like, part of how they came to this album was she and one of her bandmates were dating, and then they broke up, and then she wrote this whole album as part of their breakup. So she's speaking to him, basically. And this whole album is just like song after song about him, and then he has to be in the band and also sing these songs and play them.
Yeah, I imagine that had to be very weird and awkward.
Right. That's part of why I liked it, because I felt like that was so badass of her. To take all of this that she had with him and then turn around and them have to play the shows every night and him have to hear her lyrics every night. It was fantastic. Some of my favorites. Sunday Morning, #1 favorite of all time, no doubt.
Oh, it just came to mind. Yeah, at first I was like, I don't remember that one, but yeah, I do.
And I think one of the more popular songs would be like Spiderwebs, which I do love that song, and then Just a Girl, another one of my favorites, and even the title track, Tragic Kingdom, is the last song on the album, and that's a great song too. It's so much girl power in this album. And I know that sounds like whatever, but it really is. Like it was not like anything I had heard or seen before.
Oh no, there's no shame in girl power. I remember the music of the time was so different than this, and so it was so cool to hear, this style of rock with the kind of punk attitude to it,
right?
But still like an incredible pop sensibilities, but not. It wasn't Spice Girls. It wasn't. It wasn't quite as dark as like Alanis Morissette. But it was very good. Like I don't remember when it first came out. Obviously, "Don't Speak" is the first album. First song I knew off of it. I heard a cover band at a band competition play Spiderweb, and that was the first time I heard it. And I was after that obsessed and had to hear this album. So a friend made me a cassette of it, and I listened to it a ton. Back that would have been, I guess, middle school, yeah. And so I can't think what year that would actually be. That was definitely had been out a year or two at the time. I'm a little behind on some music. I actually wasn't allowed to watch MTV for a few years there in high school, so or middle school, high school, probably because of Madonna video, I would imagine.
Right.
But so I missed out on some music right when it first came out. But Spiderwebs is incredible. Just a Girl was one of my favorites to sing just to make people laugh, because I've always loved getting people to laugh, and so I would sing Man, I Feel Like a Woman, or I'm Just a Girl, just to get some reaction sometimes.
That's a powerful song, though.
It is. I don't mean to make it into a joke, but that a guy singing it is kind of funny.
Yeah, it is.
But it is a really incredible thing, and I actually saw behind the scenes mention on this. I don't know how much of it is 100% true and how much of it is just Jimmy Iovine mentioning it. But do you know who Jimmy Iovine is?
I don't think so.
He's one of the people involved with Apple and Beats.
Okay.
There's a really cool documentary, The Defiant Ones, on HBO, and that's where I saw a little snippet where he mentioned Gwen Stefani. But apparently, he had met her, and either he was big into record labels for a while there, and helped sign her or something along those lines. But pretty much just kept telling her she was great, she was very talented, but keep going back. You've got better. And it gets really jerkishly, and it kind of is, but at the same point, he knew she had such potential, and pretty much he commented on once this came out, he just knew that she had achieved what he knew she could.
Right.
And yeah, really, really cool album. Haven't listened to it all the way through in a lot of years. I was going through all those album recommendations people had mentioned recently, or not recently, but when it happened, that episode back a few months back, and I didn't quite make it to this one. I listened to a lot of the ones on your list, but I don't know how I got sidetracked, I guess, and now I'm going to have to listen to this one again because it's been a while.
You should. You'll love it. It's a lot of fun. And I think for me, it definitely takes me back because when you're a 13-year-old girl, there's always a boy that you like, and there was a boy that I liked, and so he didn't like me, and so "Don't Speak" was that song,
Right.
Sing in your room while you cry into your pillow because the boy doesn't like you.
Right. Yeah, I think all of us have had the wonderful moment of unrequited love,
Yes.
whether it was as a 13-year-old or whether it's as an older adult. Like, there's just times, like, in your life, especially as a teenager, like that, any song like that would really resonate and touch. So that's a great one for that. I think, did that one, I'm sure that one won a Grammy. I want to say that was on one of my Grammy compilations I had at one point, the Don't Speak.
I'm not for sure, but I hope so.
Yeah.
I feel like the band won.
I would imagine they won a couple
of,
times,
yeah.
I would think. Let's see. Grammys 98. I'm just curious. There's me on my little wild goose chase.
another while you're looking that up,
Yeah.
another reason why this band spoke to me, like I said, I was a trumpet player, and it's one of the few bands that had, horns and had trumpets and kind of made it look cool that you played the trumpet. It was something that I noticed on one of the videos that when I was watching it again today, and I remembered thinking like, oh yeah, I like this because it had trumpets in it.
Right. Well, that was during the brief time that ska was kind of a thing.
Right.
So
Right.
I forgot I brought that in there a little bit. Sorry, that was taking longer than I thought it was going to.
That's okay.
Carry on. What were any other thoughts on the?
Let's see. I always, and this is just like me being nosy because that's him, but I always wondered why they broke up. Like, what happened? And maybe she has told the details. I don't know that I knew it and forgot or something, but I always heard.
Group or her and that guy?
Yeah, her and that guy. Like, their breakup was what made her write a lot of these songs, and I always wonder, what was it? What was it? Another girl? It doesn't really sound that way from the songs because I never really get that.
Right.
It felt like it was like a cheating thing, or maybe just a like we're not meant to be together type thing, or did he just want to keep it professional because they were in the band together? I don't know. I always just sort of wondered what happened with him.
That's interesting. I sure haven't seen it talked about. But you would think, as many years since the album came out, it probably has been at some point.
Right. And she's had several. At least one other high-profile breakup since then. I mean, that was a long time ago. So.
Yeah, I would imagine the more recent interviews would definitely be about Gavin Rossdale.
Right.
That still shocked me. That just seemed like a rock and roll heaven kind of marriage thing. Because both very attractive people, and I think I say so anyway. And Bush is, especially the early stuff, incredible stuff. Newer stuff doesn't resonate with me. But the 90s, like Razor Blade Suitcase, that kind of stuff.
16 Stone?
Yes. All that kind of stuff is amazing stuff. I know Russell hated Golden State, but I kind of like it. It was when they went a little poppy, but it still resonates with me better than whenever they did the reunion. And I was like, oh, yeah, Bush is back together. And then like, not really digging it as much. Not saying it's bad. It's just doesn't speak the same. And yes, I did my little search. It was on 1998 Grammys CD, along with Where Have All the Cowboys Gone? I bet that's somebody you hadn't thought about in forever. Paula Cole in her hairy armpits. Not criticizing her for that, but I just remember that as a 14-year-old boy, I was just like, I saw the album cover. I'm like, why does she have hairy armpits? Sorry. Now all the feminists are like, David's being mean.
Yes.
All my feminist listeners. I came home. Every Day is a Winding Road. Bop, which I mentioned earlier. I love Hanson, especially around that age I did. I know that's going to get me some grief, but later Hanson is really good. At the time, just me exploring different types of music, I was like, hey, that's kind of cool and catchy, but kind of grew out that song pretty quickly. But I Believe I Can Fly, Criminal by Fiona Apple, On and On. I don't know that one. Fleetwood Mac, Silver Springs. Oh, Jamiroquai, Virtual Insanity. Oh, yeah. That's a dance song.
Yeah.
If you can listen to that and not dance, your willpower is strong. So anyway, sorry, I know that was a very far side note. Didn't mean to go off on reading all that, but that was my first introduction. So yeah, I was way behind on that album. I mean, I'm sure I'd heard it before, like at least that song, but that was the first time I owned it. And like I said, some point around that time was when I got the cassette from a friend. And yeah, Tragic Kingdom, I listened to it a ton that time. That and Green Day, I got obsessed with them at the same time, basically. Any closing thoughts on No Doubt? Or
No.
Okay.
I think so.
All right. Well, my fifth album, and I will say doing this list was really hard for me because there are so many albums I love to sing to. Because as we covered earlier in the episode, I love singing. The last one I'm going to put on there, though, that finally made the cut was Third Eye Blind's self-titled album from 1997, which everybody knows Semi-Charmed Life came off of. And I will admit, I loved a lot of the songs I heard off this at the time. Like, I remember Semi-Charmed Life, I was so obsessed with. Still love it, but it kind of, more than kind of got burnt because it was overplayed. But back when it came out, I remember loving that. How's It Gonna Be? Jumper was really good, even though I didn't really understand what it was about at the time because I could get, what he was saying, but it just, I don't know. Suicide wasn't something I'd really heard much about at that age. But that's a good one. Narcolepsy actually came on a weird compilation I had when Surge you remember that energy drink, that little soda?
Yeah.
They sent out like a 6-song CD sampler with little, and then it ends with like little sounds you could put in an answer machine. I don't know how to clue. Yeah, it was the weirdest thing in the world. It was 6 songs, one of which was Narcolepsy. And then it had like the last 6 tracks or so was just like stuff to put on your answer machine messages. Why my family was on the list of people to get this album, I have no clue. But we were. And that is why I know my friends kind of made fun of me when we saw Third Eye Blind. He's like, you're the only person that would get this excited when they play Narcolepsy. And I'm like, that song rocks. But it does. It's a cool song. And I knew it better than a lot of the rest because of that Surge mix. But that's not what I was here to talk about. So go back to the album. Graduate's good. Thanks a Lot is one of the more angry ones. Good for You, another angry. I Want You that one's unique. It's very, very different than those. But it closes out with 3 tracks I'll admit as a kid didn't grab me as much as I do as an adult. But The Background, Motorcycle Drive-By, and God of Wine are just beautiful songs that have to build. They don't start out rocking like a lot of the popular rock songs that the album's known for, but really good songs. And I will say hearing those played live really brought this album alive even more for me, and probably is why it's been in such steady rotation for the past what year did I see them? 4 years ago, I think. Yeah. So yeah, what are your thoughts on Third Eye Blind?
I wasn't that big into them. Of course, like you said, Semi-Charmed Life was, a huge hit, and it's still fun. It's still fun to sing that song. How's It Gonna Be? I like that song. But do they still tour? Do they still put on shows?
Well, let me preface this. The lead singer and the drummer, I think, are the only 2 original members, I think, by now. But yes, they still tour. They put out a new album 2015 or so called Dopamine. Mm-hmm. It's good. It doesn't capture the energy of the original stuff, but it's good for a band getting back together and reforming out of the ashes of the many members that have joined and left the band.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they oh my gosh. I don't know if Steven's just tough to work with or just that many years on the road. But they're a great band, and I loved it. It was cool seeing them live. But yeah, there's a lot of lawsuits in that band among who wrote what and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, they still play. They actually even put an EP a little while back, which I did not care for, but I'm going to jump back into one of these days and see if it grabs me on a second or third listen. But yeah, they're still around. Like I said, I think that was 2013. That might have been one of their first reunions in a while. But yeah, it was tons of fun. Have you ever been to the Tabernacle in Atlanta?
No.
Oh my gosh. Such a unique venue. So cool. It's an old church, and they turned it into like a theater and everything, and it's mostly music shows. Occasionally comedians come there, but it's really cool place. That was my first concert there. I'd heard about it for a lot of years and finally saw that in 2013. And I've since seen about 3 or 4 bands there, but really cool thing. But so you said there's a few songs you liked off of it, but other than that, not a whole lot that you remember?
No.
Or?
It'll be one of those that I listen to now that you've reminded me about it.
Did you ever listen to the whole thing, like back when it came
Not
out?
Not that I remember, no.
Okay. Yeah, I remember I wasn't allowed to, or didn't, either wasn't allowed or didn't buy it when it came out at the time, so I don't think I heard maybe all the songs until later. And then, like I said, younger me just wanted the poppy rockin' songs and kind of ignored the little more mellow stuff that, and later I'm like, hey, there's a lot of good moments in that quieter sides of CDs. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just like, go back to what you're good at. But with this album, I think there's a lot of great moments in the quiet. Yeah, that one, like I said, that one just barely made the cut because, mainly because of that concert moment in recent years. But it's been one I've always loved them, and like I said, when I was narrowing down the list, I'm like, it's got to make it on there. So, Jenny, thank you so much for joining us joining me on this episode. Obviously, I mentioned earlier you're with the podcast Geek and Sassy, you and Miranda, which y'all all should listen to if you haven't already. What do y'all have coming up soon? Or anything?
Well, we just dropped an episode, Geek and Sassy number 19, where we talked about the conventions that we've done recently, Fanaticon, and when I went to Heroes and Villains Fest in Atlanta. So it was sort of a catching up episode. So check that one out. And then we were both on the last episode of Seller's Points. We did a Missed and Maligned with him and Kelly, with Russell and Kelly, to talk about Batman v Superman. And then we also talked a little bit about Justice League.
Nice. Yeah, I enjoyed that episode a lot. And I think, were you very positive on that movie, or pretty positive on that movie?
Oh yeah, I love both of those movies.
Okay, yeah, that's right. I know you love BVS. I'd forgotten your feelings until just then on Justice League. I've heard a lot of negative talk on Justice League lately, and it really kind of bums me out. Like, I know it's not what we hoped it would be, but I'm happy for I'm happy we got anything. Let's just say that about Justice League. I know it could have been better, but I don't know. I liked it, and I hope to see it one more time in theaters before it leaves.
Actually, my son went last weekend, and he really liked it. Both of the boys that went liked it, and I like that. I mean, because my kid is not really that into superheroes, so the fact that he liked it, and we had a conversation about it, I kind of like tripped out a little bit about it because, you know, I love talking about superheroes, and he doesn't really do that with me that much.
Oh, okay.
So it was really cool to like have that little moment with him, and I was asking his friend, you know, about what he liked in the movie and what he didn't, and Ethan's like, my mama loves superheroes. She'll talk to you all day about this. I'm like, yeah, I will.
Which was his favorite from the movie?
He said he liked The Flash.
I figured that would resonate really well with kids because it was so quirky and funny. And I actually really liked that. as well. Not quite as much as the Grant Gustin version, but I really enjoyed that too. Well, cool. Yeah, I actually listened to. I just had a few minutes left of your podcast to listen to earlier today. So I guess I could answer that question actually on the most recent one. But definitely check those out. What is if tweet you or follow you or anything?
I'm on Twitter at Jenny Cruz, CRUZ 2814, and the podcast is at Geek and Sassy. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, and we're on Instagram as Geek and Sassy.
Nice, cool. A delight as always. Listen to that. It's cool to hear a woman's perspective on comics too, because there's a lot of male comic shows out there, and I don't think there's nearly as many females, not at least that I'm aware of. I definitely want to throw a little love for Hard Traveling Fanboys. I know I've referenced Greg and Nick a little bit. Sellers Points is great. I know I mentioned earlier in the episode Nerd Cave. If you're into video games, definitely check that out. It's Zach and Robbie. Lately, Derek sometimes shows up, but I think his side podcast and work get in the way a little bit of that in recent months. But and Todd Weber. Sorry, I almost forgot Todd Weber's Conversation Comics. He and Tim, two of our friends, have been going through or have gone through the X-Men. I don't know if they finished what they were going to do with that or not. I actually am behind one episode on that, but
I feel like there's more to come on that.
I'm going to keep reviewing comics. I just don't know if they're still on the same series that they've been on. But anyway, myself, yeah, I'm my tired brain. It's been a long day, so my tired brain. I know I went more storyteller toward end because that's what I do when I get tired. I either get cranky or I get long-winded more than usual. But obviously you're listening to Sunday Groove. You can follow me on Twitter, Sunday Groove PTB. I sometimes post my show on just random places on Facebook. Join the comics discussion if you like comics as well, and just let us know what you think. And for real, let me know what you think of any of the episodes. Any advice, any feedback is great. Very welcome. Because you probably can talk on this a little bit. That podcasting is a lot of fun, but it can be a little lonely sometimes, like not knowing who's listening to you and stuff. So any kind of comment is welcome for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's always nice to have somebody say at least something, hopefully positive. But,
right. Well, yeah, because I'll hear sometimes somebody listen to it and I'm like, well, what do you, but of course there's some people out there I don't have a clue who they are probably that might have listened to it. And I'm like, man, just say something. I can't tell you what's going to be the next episode because I'm floating a few different ideas around, but definitely come back next month. Jenny, thanks again for joining the show, and enjoy some good music in the meantime. Catch you later. Bye.
Try to